Greetings everyone. We are gathered here today to present the history of African literature. In this video, we embark on a literary journey that explores the boundless beauty and wisdom behind the narratives of the African continent. But before we dive into the world of prose and poetry, allow me to introduce the outstanding reporters who bring the heartbeat of African literature to life. Allow me to introduce Mr. Javier, Mr. Linsangan, Mr. Liagas, Mr. Lamoso, Mr. Maas, Mr. Makasinag, Mr. Malate, Mr. Malihan, and last but not the least, Mr. Haldo, which is me. So the next part are some facts about Africa that will be represented by Mr. Malate.
So thank you, Mr. Aldo. So facts about Africa. Africa is the second largest continent in terms of both land area and population. The Sahara Desert, located in North Africa, is the largest hot desert in the world. The longest river in the world is the Nile River, flows through northeastern Africa. Next slide, please. Africa is a diverse and vast continent with rich history, geography, and culture. So Africa is mayaman siya sa history and cultures. Pero more on ano sila, music and dances. Next slide, please. So characteristic of traditional African music. So based dyan is ang traditional African music is ano sila sa mga upbeats. So sa pag-clap ng hands, sa pag-stamp ng feet, and basta kahit anong tunog is nagmamatter na sa kanila. Next slide, please. So yun nga, meron din call and response. So dito naman is parang yung singer is nire-repeat niya lang yung chorus. Ang isang example dito is yung sa pag-worship. Pag-worship ng song. Okay, kung natin sabihin sa worship ng song, sabihin lang natin na favorite songs mo. So yung chorus, inuulit-ulit mo lang siya. So parang may meaning yung yung lyrics na yun sa'yo. So yun yun. So next slide, please. So next is African ritualistic dances. So dito naman is yung dance niya is yun nga, dun sa word na ritualistic is parang nag-ritual sila based on dances. Parang correct, sa atin is nag-heal. Nagpe-pray. Pinagpe-pray natin siya para mag-heal yung sakit mo. Sa kanila, parang sinasayawan nila para gumaling yung may sakit. So the next slide will be presented by Mr. Linsang.
Thank you, Mr. Malate. In African literature, first bullet, oral in nature and has to be recited and even performed. So African oral literature relies on spoken word and performance with epics, poems, and narratives being recited at ineenak ito ng mga storytellers in a vibrant and living tradition. So next bullet is not accessed through books but through storytellers who pass on epics, poems, and narratives. Instead of relying on written texts, African oral literature is transmitted through generation by skilled storytellers, ensuring the continuity of epics, poems, and narratives in the absence of printed material. So last bullet is interrelated with dance music and other performances. The rich tradition is not limited to words alone. It is holistic, a experience na sinasamahan ng dance, music, and various performances, creating a dynamic and immersive cultural expression. Sa African literature, andito ang mga African prose writing, African poetry that will be discussed by my groupmates. So next slide, please. So a learned storyteller, poet, performer, and historian. So the custodian of African oral literature is an individual who serves as a skilled storyteller, poet, performer, and historian, at may malaking ambag sa pag-preserve and transmit ng tradition through their various talents. So second bullet, handing down their oral culture for 4,000 years. So for over 4,000 years, these cultural guardians has been passing down their oral heritage, ensuring the continuity and preservation of rich narratives, tradition, and history. So, next bullet, accompany his or her stories with music. The storytelling experience is enhanced as these cultural custodians expertly accompany their tales na sinasamahan ng music, creating a sensory-rich and immersive journey through Africa's oral tradition. So, last bullet, undergoes training and takes several years to be familiarized with numerous traditional songs, rhythms, and melodies. So, becoming a master storyteller, kailangan ng years of training kung saan ang individual immerse themselves in the integration of world African oral literature, becoming familiarized with numerous traditional songs, rhythms, and melodies to authentically convey the cultural essence of their narratives. So next slide please. So features of traditional African storytelling. So first bullet, it is a communal experience. African storytelling is inherently communal, fostering an interactive experience where the audience actively shapes the narrative by offering suggestions or interpretations, creating a dynamic and participatory cultural event. So next bullet, repetition is an important part of storytelling. Repetition is an important element in African storytelling where the storyteller may repeat stanzas, words, or phrases, engaging the audience in a rhythmic call and response that not only reinforces the narrative structures but also enhances the collective experience of the storytelling tradition. So, next slide, please. The third bullet, storytelling fulfills purposes beyond being just a form of entertainment. African storytelling serves a purposes beyond mere entertainment, acting as a important means to preserve traditions, impart codes of conduct to the youth, and maintain social order by transmitting cultural values and norms through engaging narratives. So last bullet, tone is vital part of the storytelling. The way so in the intricate art of storytelling, tone plays a pivotal role as the way speakers delivers a word or statement contributes significantly to its meaning, adding depth and nuance to the narrative and enhancing the impact of the cultural messages being conveyed para mas maintindihan ito ng audience. So the next slide will be presented by Mr. Javier.
Thank you, Mr. Linsangan. African prose. In African prose, it features many literary devices. Kadalasan na ginagamit ay ang parallelism, the repetition of words, phrases, or sentence, and even ideas. Personification to allows readers to enhance their imagination. Metaphor means of asserting that two things are identical in comparison rather than just similar. Alliteration, the repetition of sounds, not just letters, and rhyme, a repetition of similar sounds in two or more words. Other literary devices na ginagamit sa African prose ay ang epithet, ginagamit para ma-describe niya yung particular traits or quality ng isang character. The second one is apostrophe, ginagamit para ma-address yung mga character na wala doon or a non-living object. At ang panghuli ay ang omniscient point of view, isang paraan ng pag-narrate kung saan ang narrator ay aware sa mga thoughts and feelings ng character. The empire and societies that contributed to the enrichment of the African prose will discuss by Mr. Clarence.
So thank you, Mr. Javier. Tangal greetings, I'm Clarence Jedmaas and I am here to discuss the empires and societies that contributed to the enrichment of African prose. Next slide. First is Egypt. Egypt had a vibrant and strong empire that focused on a polytheistic society. So kapag sabi pong polytheistic, it is believing in or worshipping multiple gods. Ancient Egyptians believed in multiple gods to explain nature, life events, and phenomena. Each god represented a specific aspect of life of the environment, such as sun, moon, Nile River, fertility, love, war, and death. These deities were seen as means to control and understand the surrounding world. Their religion deeply influenced their culture, shaping societal structures and day-to-day lives, reflecting their understanding of the complexity and diversity of life. Next slide. Egyptians. Egyptians influenced African prose by writing myths that honor their gods. So, ancient Egyptian civilization produced a vast body of literature, including myths and legends that were passed down through generations. These myths often revolve around the Egyptian gods and goddesses, showcasing their powers, interactions, and significance in the lives of the people. The storytelling tradition of the Egyptians influenced African prose by inspiring the narratives that celebrated deities and explored the supernatural realm. And next, hieroglyphics, one of its greatest contribution, an ancient system of writing. Hieroglyphics, an ancient system of writing used by the Egyptians, is one of their greatest contributions to the world's literature. Hieroglyphics consisted of pictorial symbols represent words, sounds, or concepts. This intricate writing system allowed the Egyptians to record their history, religious beliefs, and everyday life in written form. The development of hieroglyphics not only facilitated communication but also laid the foundation for future writing systems and the evolution of African prose. Next slide. Next is the Old Ghana. Old Ghana emerged around 300 CE in West Africa, also the region's first major agrarian empire and powerful and affluent kingdom that derives its richness from the trade of salt and gold. So the Old Ghana Empire established around 300 CE in West Africa and was the region's first major agrarian empire. Kapag sabi pong agrarian, tungkol po ito sa farming or sa bukid. So basically, connected siya sa lupa at pagsasaka. Despite lacking in a writing system, the society flourished through complex trade, division of labor, and oral histories. The empire's prosperity was fueled by the rapid growth of trans-Saharan trade, earning it the moniker Land of Gold. Ghana controlled significant gold fields, becoming a major trader in ivory, salt, and iron tools, and a hub for early slave trade. Facing challenges from the Almoravids in the 11th century, Ghana adopted Islam and expanded its territories. However, climate change, internal conflicts, and resource depletion led to its decline in the 1200s. Next slide. Next is Old Mali. Old Mali overtook Old Ghana for supremacy. So the Old Mali Empire was a powerful West African empire that existed from the 13th to the 17th century. Old Mali rose to the prominence by overtaking the previously dominant empire Old Ghana. The Old Mali Empire, under the leadership of its most famous ruler, Mansa Musa, expanded its territory and influence through military conquest and strategic alliances. He is known for his immense wealth, particularly showcased during his extravagant pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. He also expanded its territory and influence through military conquest and strategic alliances. His reign brought economic prosperity and cultural advancements to Old Mali, leaving a lasting legacy in African history. Then, Sundiata Keita. Sundiata Keita is legendary warrior king in 1230. Si Sundiata Keita po ang nag-establish ng Old Mali Empire. So now, mas kilalatin pa natin si Sundiata Keita. Next slide please. Sundiata Keita, also known as Lion Prince, born in 13th century Ghana Empire, overcame early challenges to become a local leader in Kangaba. Sundiata Keita, known as the Lion Prince, due to his exceptional strength, bravery, and leadership qualities. Despite early challenges and legends of his sickly childhood, he rose to prominence, eventually becoming a local leader in Kangaba, which was part of the Malinke people. His triumph at Battle of Quirina marked a pivotal moment that initiated the Mali Empire, leading to the rebuilding of Niani, where he defeated the Ghana's empire ruler Sumanguru in 1235. Then introducced the Mandan Charter. Sundiata Keita played a crucial role in establishing the Mandan Charter, also known as the Kurukan Fuga. This oral charter, passed down through generations, outlined principles of governance, emphasizing peace within a diverse nation, the abolition of slavery, education, and food security. Sundiata's foundation of the Mandan Charter contributed to the socio-political foundation of the Mali Empire and represented one of the earliest charters of human rights in African history. Next slide. Next is Songhai. Songhai, a major power in the 15th and 16th centuries, and was one of Africa's largest state, ruled by the Soni dynasty and later the Askia dynasty. So ang Soni dynasty po ang unang namuno sa Songhai from 1694 to 1493. Then sinundan ito ng Askia dynasty sa taong 1493 to 1591. Additionally, the empire wielded significant influence in the Western Sahel region. Its size and dominance allowed it to play a central role in trans-Saharan trade, controlling key trade routes and fostering economic prosperity. Next bullet, gained independence in the 1430s from the weakening Mali Empire under the Soni dynasty. Taking advantage of Mali's decline, Songhai asserted its autonomy and emerged as a formidable power in West Africa. This transition marked a turning point for Songhai's traditional and territorial expansion, setting the stage for its rise as a dominant force in the region. Next bullet, reigning from 1464 to 1492, Soni Ali expanded Songhai's territory. Soni Ali, renowned for his military prowess, launched successful military campaigns that allowed Songhai to conquer neighboring territories and expand its influence. Besides po, nagawa niya ang malawakang pagpapalawak ng teritoryo ng Songhai. Ito ay naging dahilan ng paglaki at paglago ng kapangyarihan ng imperyo noong panahon na iyon. Also, his strategic leadership and conquest expanded Songhai's territory, making one of the largest empires in sub-Saharan Africa at that time. Next slide po. Songhai's power rested on trade, with a government system giving authority to local chiefs as long as they followed Songhai's policy and a tightly controlled labor division system, with different occupations assigned based on clan affiliation. So this system ensured economic stability and facilitated the empire's growth and prosperity. And last bullet, Morocco invaded in 1591, exploiting Songhai's internal conflicts to control trans-Saharan trade, leading to the empire's downfall. Exploiting internal conflicts within Songhai, Morocco capitalized on control over trans-Saharan trade routes, leading to the downfall of the empire. So this invasion marked a critical turning point in Songhai's history and ultimately contributed to its decline. Next slide po. Next is Timbuktu. Timbuktu is a city that was part of both the Old Mali and Songhai empires. Timbuktu, located in the present-day Mali, was a city that held significance in the both Old Mali and Songhai empires. So as a permanent center of trade and commerce, Timbuktu played a crucial role in facilitating trans-Saharan trade routes. Its strategic location made it a hub for the exchange of goods, including gold, salt, ivory, and slaves. Next bullet, serves as a major trading center and was home to libraries with extensive collections of books. So these libraries house extensive collections of books and manuscripts, making Timbuktu a significant intellectual and cultural center during its heyday. Scholars and students flocked to the city to study various disciplines, including Islamic theology, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and literature. The libraries preserve valuable written works from Africa and other regions, contributing to the preservation and dissemination of knowledge. The intellectual and commercial prosperity of Timbuktu attracted scholars, traders, and travelers from different parts of the world, fostering a vibrant multicultural environment. The city became a melting point of diverse cultures, language, and ideas, further enriching its intellectual and artistic heritage. Next slide po. The last one is Fasa and Aksum. Fasa and Aksum are African territories with notable oral literature. So, to better understand po, Fasa refers to the traditional oral literature of various African territories. These territories have a rich heritage of storytelling, poetry, proverbs, and songs that have been passed down through generations orally. FASA plays a significant role in preserving cultural traditions, history, and values, serving as a means of communication, entertainment, and education within these communities. The oral literature of FASA reflects the diverse cultural identities and experiences of the African people, showcasing their creativity, wisdom, and collective memory. So meanwhile, Aksum was a civilization located in present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. It emerged as a highly influential society that shaped cultural formations in the northern areas of Africa. The Aksumite civilization thrived from the 1st century AD to the 7th century AD and was known for its advanced political organization, sophisticated architecture, and thriving trade networks. Aksum served as a major center of commerce and cultural exchange, attracting influences from various regions. Next bullet, civilized societies that became very influential among cultural formations in the northern areas of Africa, also prominent due to exposure to a variety of cultures both from the East and India and West Rome. So, Aksum's strategic location along the Red Sea allowed it to establish trade connections with both the East and West. From the East, Aksum had trade links with ancient India, which brought goods such as spices, textile, and precious stones to the region. From the West, Aksum had interactions with the Roman Empire, leading to the exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices. The exposure to a variety of cultures from both East and West contributed to Aksum's cultural diversity and influenced its artistic expressions, religious beliefs, and architectural styles. The civilization's most iconic legacy is the towering obelisks known as stelae, which serve as a monumental structures and symbols of Aksumite power and prosperity. And that was for my first part. The next slide will be discussed by Mr. Javier.
Thank you, Mr. Clarence. African prose writing. Prose writing is continuous yet systematic. Prose best reflects the organized mind, which is evident in stories and essay. In Africa, the prose writing usually used upang mag-narrate ng social memories, rules, and history. Ang African prose ay kadalasang nakasentra sa mga tao, hayop, at history. Pagdating naman sa plot ng animal narratives ay kadalasan naman nakapokus sa mga large animals na niloloko o pinaglalaroan ng mga maliliit na animals. Ito din ay tinatawag na trickster stories. Another plot focuses on a attacker that tries to deceive its rescuer or savior but is instead outsmarted by a third character. Two prominent oral tradition in Africa. The two prominent oral tradition in Africa is the dilemma tale and the chain tale or cumulative tale. Dilemma tale, a form of moral tale that does not have a definite ending and invites the audience to share judgment. Intended to start discussion regarding moral issues and may be used as a form of instruction or entertainment. A dilemma tale is a type of folk narrative or story that present a characters with a difficult choice or decision. The plot typically revolves around a problem or predicament that requires resolution and the character must navigate through various options, each with its own set of consequences. The other one is chain tale or cumulative tale. A formulaic story which means it has a pattern. Characters, dialogue, or action repeats. Plot lines tends to be simple, contains hilarious messages in the form of jokes and witty statement. Chain tale or cumulative tale is a type of story in which elements or events are added successively, creating a cumulative effect. Each part of the story builds upon the previous one, often repeating what came before and introducing a new element. The narrative unfolds like a chain, with each link connected to the next. The prominent authors will discuss by Mr. Clarence.
So thank you, Mr. Javier. So I'm here again to discuss the prominent African authors. Next slide, please. First is Joseph Ephraim Casely Hayford. He was a Ghanaian author who first published African novels written in English. His works reflected his opposition to British colonial rule and the laws imposed on land management in Ghana. He also wrote a novel entitled Ethiopia Unbound, which was published in 1911. The novel explores themes of Pan-Africanism, cultural identity, and the struggle against colonial oppression. Ethiopia Unbound tells the story of a young man named Cedric, who travels to Europe and experiences the racism and discrimination faced by people of African descent. The novel emphasizes the importance of African unity, self-determination, and the preservation of African cultural heritage. He is also a political activist and wrote books that serve to convey his oppositions to the various laws imposed by the British on land management. His writings also played a significant role in shaping early African literature in English and promoting political awareness and activism. His works challenged colonial narratives, emphasized African identity, and called for social justice and equality. Next slide, please. Next is Herbert Isaac Ernest Dlomo. He is a South African who first published an English language play entitled The Girl Who Killed to Save. This play, published in 1935, explores the themes of tradition, sacrifice, and the clash between old and new societal norms. The story revolves around a young girl named Nonkawuse, who receives a prophecy that the Xhosa people must kill her cattle to appease the gods and ensure their salvation. The play delves into the complexities of belief systems, colonial influence, and the consequences of blind faith. In addition to The Girl Who Killed to Save, Dlomo founded the Bantu Dramatic Society in 1932. This society aimed to promote African theater and provide a platform for African playwrights and actors to showcase their talents. The establishment of the Bantu Dramatic Society played a crucial role in fostering the growth of African theater in South Africa. It encourages the creation and performance of many plays that reflected the African experiences, traditions, and social issues. Next slide. Next is Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o is a Kenyan writer who wrote the first full-length East African play entitled Black Hermit. This play, published in 1962, it explores the complexities of cultural identity, colonialism, and the clash between traditional African values and Western influences. Black Hermit tells the story of a young man named Wayaki, who returns to his rural village after receiving a Western education. The play delves into the tensions and conflicts that arise as Wayaki attempts to bridge the gap between the traditional beliefs of his community and the new ideas he has acquired. It highlights the challenges faced by individuals caught between two different worlds and raises questions about the impact of colonialism in African societies. He also wrote essays, plays, novels, and short stories. Some are political, while some are children's literature. So, in addition to his political writings, he has also written children's literature that promotes African cultural values and addresses the experiences of young readers. Notable examples include Jamba Nene and the Flying Bus and the River Between. Next slide. Next is Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe was born on November 16, 1930 in Ogidi, Nigeria. He was a prominent Nigerian author and scholar who played a crucial role in shaping African literature. Achebe's most famous work, Things Fall Apart, was published in 1958 and marked a turning point in African literature. So, Things Fall Apart. It regarded as one of the most influential African novels and has received worldwide critical acclaim. This novel tells the story of Okonwo, a respected warrior and member of the Igbo community in pre-colonial Nigeria. It explores the impact of European colonization and on traditional African societies, the clash of cultures, and the consequences of societal change. Things Fall Apart is a novel that critiques colonialism and African culture. It presents a complex and multidimensional portrait of Igbo society, highlighting the strength, traditions, and complexities of African cultures before colonial powers arrived. The novel has received global critical acclaim for its powerful storytelling, thought-provoking themes, and literary craftsmanship. It has been translated into multiple languages and continues to be studied in schools and universities worldwide. The success of the novel inspired the African Writers Series literary movement. So that's the all for the first part of the video. So please proceed to the next video will be presented by Mr. Malihan, Mr. Makasinag, Mr. Lemoso, and Mr. Haldo. Thank you.